Okay, hey everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. We're really excited to introduce the Seville, Spain program to you. We have, I'm John Morris. I run the study abroad program here at Citrus College. I spam you emails, that's me. We have Paula from AIFS.
Hi everybody.
So, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Paula Messina and I work with AIFS Study Abroad. I'll tell you a little bit about us in a few slides. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and we have your faculty here. If you guys want to say
Faculty.
hello, and we'll hear from them more, but you can go ahead and say it.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew Kim, and I'll be bringing some psychology classes with me to Spain. Looking forward to getting to as many of you.
I'm Cynthia. Cynthia Lewis. I will be teaching art history, and I don't need to bring the art with me. It's already there. Art and architecture.
My name is Aaron Salinger. I normally teach Spanish at Mount Sac. I don't need to take the Spanish to Spain either or either. But if you haven't had Spanish or if you've only had one semester, you'll be with me. Otherwise, if you've had more Spanish or already speak it, you'll be with local people studying Spanish.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Sorry. So AIFS is a study abroad program provider. We work with colleges and universities across the country to provide the study abroad opportunities for students. We were founded in 1964, so in these 55 years of experience, we've sent over 1.5 million students abroad. I myself was an AIFS student. When I went abroad, I was a Spanish major at a little college in New York, and I didn't really speak that much Spanish, so I figured I better get to Spain where I'd learn it. I went to Spain with AIFS, so I came to study abroad just like you as a student. Ended up spending a semester, prolonged it to a year, ended up coming back, graduating, and going right back to Spain, where I started to work for AIFS, running their program at the University of Granada. So very close to Seville, about a 2-hour distance from Seville. I spent about 25 years there working with students and faculty, helping to make their study abroad the experience of a lifetime. AIFS has been working though with Citrus College since 1989, Citrus College in the consortium. So we have sent literally thousands of Citrus College students to study abroad in Spain, London, Costa Rica, Japan. So we have been partnering with them for 30 years now, sending students abroad. We have local program coordinators. So we have a team in Seville who's from Seville, who knows Seville really well, who work with our program, our faculty and our students there to set up the program, to run the program, make sure it goes as successfully as possible. Make sure that it's a healthy and safe program. We have what we call as AIFS, as a company, we have extensive incident response and crisis management procedure. And that sounds really scary to parents. I know it does. I'm a study abroad parent myself, actually. I have 2 Citrus College students who did the Costa Rica program last year and will do the Costa Rica program hopefully this upcoming January. And so I know what it feels like to be a parent and send your child so far away. It's scary, right? And I work for the company. But I felt when my kid was abroad that I couldn't breathe for the entire month that he was there. But I was really confident that if anything happened, I knew that he had people to go to, right? So it could be as innocent as my debit card won't work. What's going on, right? They'll have people to go to that will work them through the process to make sure that it gets working again. My laptop was stolen, or I have a fever, I need to see a doctor. They'll have people to go to, okay? And we want to show you a little video of a student who was in Seville last year. His name is Nate, and it's going to be this one.
And then, all of a sudden, I was waiting in the airport to fly to Spain. And I was nervous. Nervous to be with people, nervous to be in my comfort zone. And I was doubtful. Is this even a good idea? Will I make friends? Will I be lonely? And then I landed in Seville, my new home for the next 3 months. And I met people. People in my study abroad group. grades? I hope so. Elena, ciao, ciao, Carmen. And we became friends. Ciao. And as time went on, we became family. And we did a lot together. We traveled by bus, by plane, by bike and on foot. And we saw a lot. We saw beaches and birds and sunsets. We climbed things and we go out together. And we listen to music. And made music sometimes too. And we dance. And we laugh. And we make memories. Memories that we will remember forever.
So this presentation is on the Citrus College Study Abroad website under Seville. So if you're interested in watching some more of these videos, we encourage you to. And now, okay, so we want you to think about like why study abroad, right? And it's just a trip abroad, right? Why study abroad? Less than 10% of U.S. college students study abroad. So if we do the simple math, that will set you apart of 90% of your peers, right? Study abroad is something that will show admissions officers for transfer, admissions officers for grad school. It will show future employers that you have attained certain skills that are really important, like that this intercultural competence. Actually, I was reading a LinkedIn survey from employers, and one of the top 5 skills that they're looking for is this intercultural competence. This is the ability and to talk to people and empathize with people from other cultures, right? It is an ever-shrinking world. It is a global marketplace. There is no field that I can think of that is not in some way touched by other cultures. So having this experience on your resume is not just talking the talk, it's walking the walk, right? You can prove that you have attained this skill. You understand diversity, you're a problem solver, right? You've been in another culture, you've navigated for a long period of time, right? Not just a week, not just a month, you've been there for over 3 months. You're able to problem solve, think out of the box. It shows them that you've gained personal skills like creativity, independence, flexibility. That's an important one as well. Adaptability too. You adapted to another culture for a long period of time. So this is something that will bring you benefits and help you be more competitive in the marketplace. That's really important. Statistics show that that's true. We like to show these 4 statistics that we think are really important. 100% of students that come back from study abroad improve their GPA overall, right? You're out of your regular life, you're out of your comfort zone, you're out of, normal everyday life. You're able to really understand and learn what you want to do and how to get there, right? So you come back with greater drive and greater focus. 97% of students who study abroad get a job within 12 months of graduation versus only 47% of regular college students, 47%. You're twice as likely more to get hired. That's important. 25% higher salaries, right? You're more prepared for higher paying jobs. You've gained skills that they're looking for. So we like to say that eventually study abroad will pay for itself. And then 90% of study abroad alumni get into their first or second choice of grad schools. We don't have those statistics for transfer, but I know that when my son, who studied abroad, did his Cal Apply, he was asked to enter, to identify which courses he did as a study abroad student, and he was also asked to identify which courses he did in his honors program. So they are weighing study abroad courses more than just regular courses, right? This program is run by AIFS, but as the academics are done in a consortium of different Southern California community colleges. So Citrus College is the college that founded the program. All students become Citrus College students, and then you'll be in class with students from all over the region, which is nice. You'll be able to make a lot of friends off campus and around Southern California. Our faculty also not only comes from Citrus College, but it comes from some of the consortium colleges, so that's nice. Are we all Citrus College students here today? Anyone from another campus? Yeah, where are you from?
Rio.
Rio, okay, excellent. All right, welcome. Why Seville too? I mean, Seville is the quintessential Spain city, right? It is the Spain of flamenco and bullfighting. It's the Spain of tapas and wonderful cuisine and very warm, loving people. I know that when I had the decision to study abroad in Spain, I'm from the Northeast, but I'm from a very Italian family. And my father happened to be a Spanish teacher, which is funny, and did a lot of study abroad himself. And when I was consulting with him, where should I study abroad? He said, go to the south of Spain because that's where the people from the Mediterranean are like us. They're very warm and very active and very loud. So that is why we think Seville makes such a great city to study abroad in. The weather is also great, a lot like the weather we enjoy here in Southern California. It gets really hot in the summer, but they have a really nice spring where it's not really cold, but it's not quite that hot yet. You probably won't experience the heat until the very end of the semester in May. So that's really good. And it's ideally situated to travel around Europe. And we know that's high on the priority list of every study abroad student, right? Travel is something that, seeing the world and seeing the wonderful places that are in Europe is great. You can get to many different cities in Europe for really cheaply. You can travel from the airport in Seville, which is a smaller regional airport, or you can train or bus to Malaga, which is close, or to Madrid, and you can travel to nearly any city in Europe for really cheaply. We don't have any former students in here today at our meeting, no? Sometimes we get those. They like to talk about their experience, but students are finding round-trip airfare to Paris, Barcelona, Rome for under $100 round trip. So it's a great opportunity to be able to travel and see the must-sees in Europe. And then our academics. Of course, this is a study abroad program, not just a travel abroad program. The academics, your faculty is going to speak to you in just a sec, but you'll have courses, so you'll take a full load of courses. From 12 to 14 units is the average. Mondays through Thursdays, you will have some long weekends. I think we will. John, this time will you switch up the schedule so that it's, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to do Monday through Thursday, and you'll have some 3-day weekends in there and some holidays thrown in. You observe and your spring break. Courses are all UC-CSU transferable, so you'll be able to stay on track and graduate and transfer on time. They meet gen ed requirements. There is one required course called the Spanish Civilization course. We'll talk about that in a sec. And there is the opportunity to take some online courses as well. If you have a certain requirement or a course that you have to take during the semester, you may be able to take it online while you're abroad. I'm going to ask Professor Salinger to come up first, and he's going to tell you a little bit about the Spanish classes and the Spanish Civ.
So we're gonna have class in a horse-drawn carriage every day. So one of the statistics that the UC Merced study talks about is how students who have studied abroad raise their GPAs when they return. And I think part of the reason that happens is because this is an opportunity to take what we do in class, which sometimes might feel like an abstract exercise, and make it real, right? We're basically taking our classroom to the streets. So we're going to continue to work on vocabulary and grammar and culture like we would in a regular Spanish class, but your vocabulary can also be things that you're using every day when you're out and about in Seville. So if you're going to bakeries or certain stores or certain places, we can create vocabulary lists that talk about the things that you're experiencing on the ground in Spain, right? I believe college should be fun. I believe college should be fun because what you're studying should be fun for you. Sure, you have to take requirements, but the reason you're taking requirements, hopefully, is to get to a place where what you study is fun for you because it's your interest. The people you're studying with are also interested in the same thing. I think school should be fun. I also think it should be fun because you meet new people and explore places, and this is an opportunity to take the fun meter and crank it up. But not only having fun outside of class, we're going to take our class and mix it with what we're doing outside of class. But in the video that we watched, that was made by a student who went last spring, and what that student did was he made a video for each month he was there, and the video that we watched was a compilation of all of the videos he had already made. But what was the one thing we didn't see in that video? Yeah, there's no school in that video. Except that maybe there was. Maybe everything that they were doing was school, right? Sometimes the best class is when you don't even realize that that is school, right? The other thing that we didn't see were cars, which I think is one of the neatest things that we didn't get to see. I'm excited about no cars. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at this. This is an opportunity to take college, which should be fun anyway, and kind of crank up the volume, but doing that in a way that's productive. It's not like you're traveling. You really are studying abroad, and it's kind of combining the best of travel with the best of studying. Is there something
Your
I should?
courses,
Like, you wanna talk about
there's
class?
Spanish life and culture. I don't know if you want
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about that.
This is the Spanish Civ class?
Yes.
Yep. So the Spanish civilization, its history of Spain, and right now you may or may not care about the history of Spain, but what will happen when you're on the ground is you're going to be looking at these buildings that are hundreds, some of them will be thousands of years old, and it will be awesome to see what all of this is that you're looking at. Combining that with the art history, I think is going to be a real treat. All of these are going to be taught by local people. Each class will be taught by a different person each session. So one day you'll have someone who's an expert in one area, and then the next class there will be someone who is an expert in another area. But whether or not we care about Spain at the moment, I'm pretty sure that once we're all there, we're going to be really interested in what it is that we're looking at, interacting with, the music that we're going to be seeing. We're going to be there during a flamenco festival, which means almost everywhere you go, there's going to be live flamenco music, there's going to be live dancing, there's going to be moments where everyone's dressed in these, these beautiful flamenco dresses, and it's going to be really neat to kind of see all of the influences, and they're fascinating. They're really a surprise, the influences that have created flamenco music. If it sounds foreign, if you've ever heard of it or listened to it, it's because it's really drawing from all these cultures that we don't expect it to come from. But it's a neat mix.
The really interesting thing about this course as well is not only we have these lectures, but you'll have an experience that goes along with the lecture. So when you do cuisine, you will have a cooking class. When you do the flamenco, then you go to a tablao and see a flamenco presentation. So when you do history, you'll probably go to the Archive of the Indies, where a lot of the Columbus and a lot of the explorers' information is kept. So
Do you have
that's
pictures
really
of
good.
the cooking class?
I don't actually.
When I show
here.
when I do a
I
presentation
don't
for
think I
at Mount
do.
SAC, I
Yeah.
have photos of the cooking class.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
we
rest
do
of
have
it
them.
is-
I don't have them in
it's
here. I
fine.
should. Yeah. And then I don't know if you want to talk about the other levels of Spanish. So we're able to offer several
Yeah, so
levels.
this, we have conversational Spanish, we have Spanish 1 and 2, that I'll be teaching, and then the higher levels will be taught by locals. We also have Spanish for Heritage, so if you've grown up bilingual already, then there will be classes for you as well. And then we'll be working on the differences. You'll be taking those classes with locals, and be working on the difference between your Spanish from California or Mexico or Central America and the Spanish that's spoken in Seville, which obviously is where our Spanish comes from, but our Spanish came mixed with indigenous languages or English, so it becomes a little different. So we'll be able to make those comparisons as well.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Professor Lewis.
Hi everyone, I'm Cynthia. I will be teaching art history. And I was in Seville for my sabbatical a little more than a year ago, and I can't think of a better place to be able to go out in the street. Exactly, I completely agree with what Professor Salinger said. We should have fun, and there's nothing like, I can't even describe it, being able to stand in front of a cathedral and practically touch it. I guess we could touch it if we decide, but as opposed to just looking at it on a slide in a dark classroom. So I'm very excited to be able to do that. I've taken students abroad to France and Spain, Italy, and then also to Mexico for shorter trips, like 2-week educational tours. And that was incredible. So this was my first time doing the full study abroad, for the entire semester. So I'm very excited. I know you're going to love Seville. Fine. So I will be teaching 2. They're called survey courses, Western art history, and so those fulfill, all of these fulfill the general ed requirement. But these are ones that I think students, it's probably here at Citrus and most of the community colleges, it's kind of like the basics, right? You're going to learn. The first one covers prehistory, so we start in the caves of Lascaux and caves in Altamira, Spain. We get to talk about those, cave painting and prehistoric art. Then move into Greek and Roman, Egyptian, Mesopotamian, Greek, Roman, all the way into the Middle Ages. And then Art 100B is the second half of that survey. You don't have to take one before the other, but that one deals with the Renaissance to the present. And so Spain, if you've ever heard of any Spanish painters like Velázquez, Murillo, maybe, I don't know if these names mean anything to you now, but we're going to get to know these guys. They're all over the place in Seville. This was the cradle, right, of this. We talk about Golden Age painting, Spanish painting. A lot of it was coming from workshops in Seville. And we will also be close enough, I know many of us will probably want to visit Madrid too, and I'll be happy to go with you for that quick trek to Madrid to see so many of the other Golden Age. So when we say Golden Age, talking about like 17th century. There's so much more to Art 100B, but that's definitely something that we have to look forward to, that particular moment. And then I will also be teaching a course in motion picture appreciation. So it's a film appreciation course. We'll be watching films, mostly Spanish films. So you'll get, be kind of getting to practice your Spanish, reading subtitles, learning about Spanish culture and history through watching these films. But at the same time, learning all the information that you would in a regular film appreciation course. How to, what is involved in making a film, how do we analyze and talk about the formal elements and the content, the characters, the color, all these. So we'll be watching films and then having those discussions and conversations about them. And so I've been having a lot of fun lately. I give myself these little marathon kind of movie watching marathons. I'm having fun curating and picking the Spanish films that we'll be watching. It's hard. I don't know how I'm gonna narrow it down, but I'm really looking forward to that. And then the fourth course that I'm teaching is History of Latin American Art. So of course, I'm sure you all know that Spain, the Spanish, you've heard of Hernan Cortez and Pizarro and so many others, and Columbus coming over to the American continent, and for many centuries that was called New Spain, and that's actually what I do. My own work has to do with the art of New Spain. So we will be talking a lot about all these Spanish ideas, art, culture, philosophy, etc., that are brought over to the American continent, and looking at all the traditions of art in this region that comes to be called Latin America. So,
Thank you. Awesome. Andy, that's you.
All right, everybody, so I'm Andrew, and as you can see, I'll be teaching 4 psychology classes. Feel free to sign up for all or none. It really is up to you. Like many of you, it'll be my first time to Seville, so I'm very excited about that. But it is also my 3rd time as an instructor in a study abroad program. I previously participated in a London program about 4 years ago, and a Japan program a little over a year ago. So I hope to, keep becoming a better version of me each time I do this. And when people ask me, well, why do you keep doing it? I think it's because one of my biggest regrets while I was a student is I so wanted to do a study abroad then, and just didn't happen. So I think I'm making it up by vicariously living through you. So if I wasn't teaching study abroad, maybe I'd sneak in, somebody's suitcase and hopefully slip through LAX security. But I'll be teaching 4 classes while I'm there. And if the scheduling holds compared to how things have been previously, when we say that you're taking classes Monday through Thursdays, that means for everything combined. But one class tends to be on either a Monday, Wednesday, or a Tuesday, Thursday cycle for about, would you agree it's still roughly like that?
Yes.
Yeah, so Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesdays, Thursdays. Occasionally it might not be exactly that, but it's typically twice a week. So we'll meet twice a week at least. I mean, Seville being such a smaller city, I'm sure that I'll run into many of you guys as when it's 10 p.m. and dinner time. Spaniards have dinner notoriously late. I may see some of you around town. Don't worry, I'm not gonna buzzkill you with school stuff and while you're having a good time with your friends. But I'll be bringing these 4 classes, and psychology is such that you don't need to take the courses in any particular order like you would a math class. So feel free to just whatever topic of interest is interesting personally to you guys. But let me describe each of them a little bit. Each of them are 3 units, fully transferable like all our classes. And the first one, the intro class, that's like what I call my appetizer course, because we'll be spending every week talking about something different, meaning one week it could be about mental health, but another week it could be about societal prejudice and discrimination. One week it's child development, and another week it's, so week by week, with the tapas, I guess would be a better word considering where we're going, smaller portions. We don't go quite as in-depth as I would in my other more specialized classes, but we do hit up a variety of topics. Not necessarily once a week, but it's your exposure to all the different psychologies that are out there in the 21st century, because psychology is not any one thing. It's not any one topic or set of topics. So consider that the tapas class. Not mandatory, by the way. If you're interested in any of the others, like I said, you can jump into any of the 4 that interests you most. The second and third one, though, development and social psychology, that I personally think we can take the biggest advantage of the fact that we are going to be in Europe, because it offers great opportunities for many cross-cultural studies. For instance, anyone have ever heard of a social experiment? They're very popular. YouTubers tend to do social experiments online and then post what they film out on the streets. Well, the city itself is going to be our laboratory, our petri dish. And what I want to encourage my students to do is, as outside of class, as you're just walking around, observe the people. Always be like as if you were Dr. Jane Goodall, the famous primatologist, chimpanzee researcher. Always keep your eyes open. What's different about being there as compared to growing up and being raised here? Because environment certainly matters in helping form our attitudes, right, and helping form our belief system. So how is Europe in general and Spain in particular shaping the children who grow up, as opposed to kids who grow up in California? So both provide great opportunities for that. My fourth class, Psychology of Human Sexuality. I'm going to be straight with you. I'm teaching it because they require me to teach 4 classes. No, but beyond that, and don't worry, I'll definitely over the winter try to put a local twist on the experience you get in that class. But I'm bringing it because it's historically been one of the most popular courses offered here at Centric. So it's something that you could both obviously gain knowledge, but also very personal knowledge, where you get to find out a little more about yourself. And I can actually say that about any of the classes, really, where it can be both. Let me throw in a little iPhone analogy, because this past week, there's that buzz over the new iPhone 11 release. Think of psychology this way. It is both the wide zoom lens, okay, as well as the very zoom in, where you get to really focus on an object that's far away and make it bigger. What I mean by that is it's both a study of overall society and of peoples, but also very intimately about you, the individual. So yes, we're going to be learning about Spaniards and European culture, but at the same time, are you finding out more about yourself and why you act the way you do, on a very personal level. So when we, for instance, talk about mental health, which thankfully is gaining more traction as a topic that should be more openly talked about in society compared to as in past generations, I want you to realize that we're all going to be there for some 12 weeks, right? And I wonder how many of you have ever spent 12 weeks away from your families, away from your friends. So the entire experience, beginning to end, is going to feel somewhat like a marathon, in that a marathon runner goes through certain phases during the 26 miles. At a certain point, she hits something called the wall. And then, many racers get what's called second wind, where they get this sudden burst of energy again. So likewise, you guys are, despite the fact that we're going to have very pleasant experiences, even good events, let's say things like planning for a wedding or planning for a vacation, that really taxes our system as well. So I want you to be, I want to train you, that is, to be more in touch with what you're internally going through during these 12 weeks. Basically have a pulse, a finger on your pulse at all times, only the pulse is up here, okay? Because your mental health is very important. And I hope to apply what I know and what I've learned to help you guys cope while you're there, cope and adjust, and bring back some great memories.
Thank you. Fantastic. Awesome. Great. And then John.
Well, yeah, I just want to.
Please do.
I can introduce these.
Go back.
Basically, anything that's in our catalog is fair game. If you want to take an online course while you're abroad, I would not take more than one. Students have more difficulty with the online courses because it's not catered to your experience there, so it can be more challenging. Other students love the opportunity of having this, and they need certain course transfers, so it's good If you do need to take 2 courses, it's fine. We just need to have the dean's approval and you need a strong reason. So, and you also need to check that there's no on-campus requirements, because obviously you don't want to come back here and take a test or something. That would be no fun. So those are the courses. I wanted to open it up for questions. You guys have any questions?
John, can I have one
Yes.
more thing about the online classes?
Sure.
So we are going to be a 12-week semester on site in Spain, which is shorter than the traditional Citrus semester. So we're only there, 3/4 of a full semester. The online classes, on the other hand, are either going to be the full 16-week versions, meaning that after you guys come back home, there's still 4 weeks of online classes left, because we start roughly at about the same time. I think we technically start 1 week after the Citrus campus begins their spring semester, but we catch up because of our lack of a spring break. That's the week when we catch up to the people here. But when we finish mid-May, there's going to be 4 weeks left of that. However, some online courses are what we call fast tracks. So they go at a much quicker pace, and they might be only 8 weeks long. So you're going to start and finish those fast track classes while you still have some weeks left in Spain.
That's a great point. So one thing about those 8-week classes, if you take a late start class and you're receiving financial aid, your financial aid disbursement will be delayed. So be careful with that, because AIFS will want the payment with your financial aid initial disbursement, but they won't delay to wait for that second late disbursement if you're enrolled in a late class. So just
You know that a class is late start when you see the first day of class as somewhere in April, and it finishes in June. That's the late start ones.
And also just be careful because it's 16 weeks condensed into 8, so you
Right.
have to do double the work.
Right.
It's a lot, and you might want to say, oh, maybe your friends are going to be out having tacos and you're going to be there on your online class. So, just
lots to think about.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions though about the courses for your faculty? Yes.
Where are we actually going to be taking courses?
That's that. Yes. So in Seville, there is a local language school called the Click Language School. It is very centrally located in the historic district of Seville, and that is where you'll have your classrooms, our student center, our staff will be located there. We are not based at a university because generally that does change the program fee. It's generally a lot more expensive, but this is a great centrally located place for our students to learn. The classrooms are all equipped with modern technology, so yeah, you'll have a computer lab, Wi-Fi access. Our student advisors will be there. Generally, we have about 2 student advisors for the group. Eduardo and it might be Rita, I'm not sure. Eduardo it'll be for sure. They will also have 24-hour emergency contact service. So one of our staff will have a cell phone that's on 24/7 for the duration of the program. And if you have any issue or problem outside of regular office hours, you'll always have someone that you can call and contact. And the orientation program will start prior to departure. About a month prior to departure, we'll meet back here in this room. We'll get you ready for travel day. We'll get you set your expectations for what will happen when you get to LAX, to what will happen to when you arrive in Spain, to the first few days and weeks of the program. Your first night will be in a local hotel in Seville. So we'll get everybody together. Some students will take our group flight. Some students will travel independently to Seville. We'll all meet at a local hotel, spend the night there. The next day you will kind of be distributed. It sounds kind of technical, but you'll all then either go to your homestay or your student apartment. We'll talk about housing in a second. We'll also that next day have a orientation program, like a meeting, and then a guided tour Seville, and end with a welcome reception. So that is that. Any other questions about academics before I go into housing? I didn't mean to steal your, yeah? I'm sure, if anyone has any technical questions about any of the classes, I'm sure your faculty will be here to answer afterwards. As far as housing, you can choose between two options, right? The student apartment option is included in the basic program fee. There's no extra for that. We have apartments in several buildings around the city center, all in generally the same Nervion area of Sevilla. The apartments have equipped kitchens, living area, full bath, and Wi-Fi. Generally, there are 2 students per room. We do have some single rooms, but there would be a supplement for singles. No meals are included in this option, but you would have the kitchen where you could, cook and do group meals that help save on budgets. All right, and then if you'd like to really immerse yourself into the language and culture, you'll get a lot of practice speaking Spanish. You can live with a local homestay. I don't like to call them families because families gives that expectation of a mother, father, children. They could be a widow with older children that have moved out and generally come back for lunch on a daily or several times on a weekly basis. Spain is a very maternal culture, so the mama is the center of everyone's universe. So it is very common to go home for lunch on a daily basis, even if you work. In the local homestays, you get breakfast daily and dinner Monday through Friday. Laundry on a weekly basis. Wi-Fi is included. We generally have 2 students per homestay because we want you to really practice your language skills, really immerse yourself into what it's like to be a Spaniard. There would be a charge of $1,000 supplement, a one-time supplement for the whole program. All right. That is an actual homestay, and that's an actual one of the apartments that we live in. There are no real homes. I think that photo on the left, I should take that off. It's a little misleading. They're more like a big apartment blocks. That's generally what they look like. As far as the field trips and activities that are included in the program fee, we have something going on weekly. Pretty much. Some of the samples will be a tapas tour, city tour. We'll do a rooftop tour. You can visit several different rooftops and see. We'll do some walking tours, neighborhood tours. You'll have a lot of class time in monuments and museums. We'll also do a day trip to Granada, which is part of your Spanish civilization course. A day trip to Cordoba to visit the mezquita there, which is absolutely stunning. We will also do the cooking class, sports events. You'll play a little soccer. You'll see a little soccer. Seville has 2 Division 1, I think there are this year, teams. I know one of them is definitely Division 1. So you'll be able to, if you're a soccer fan, you can go see Real Madrid, Barça. Don't see Barça, though. So here you have just a recap. You have your program fee. So based on a group of 45 students, the program fee will be $7,845. If we get 65 enrolled and paid students, the fee would come down nearly $500. So that's really good. Housing would be included if you do the student apartment. The supplement would be charged if you choose a homestay. You'll get your student staff center and services, including your 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week emergency contacts. You'll have your 3 faculty members there, corresponding classes, on-ed courses, classroom facilities. The orientation program, welcome meal, guided tour, activities in Seville, excursions to Granada and Cordoba. Medical insurance is included. Our medical insurance is really comprehensive. It will cover any medical attention that you need up to $100,000 worth of coverage per incident. So it's really comprehensive. We do offer an upgrade to up to $250,000 worth of coverage. Personally, I don't think it's necessary. Just with the standard medical insurance, you have plenty. I lived in Spain for many, many years. I had 2 children in Spain, and they have a wonderful medical care system, right? It's a socialized medical, national health care. They have great doctors and great technology. And it's not half as expensive as it is here in this country. The application fee is included, and pre-departure services and orientation. Like I said, prior to departure, we'll be getting you ready. What would not be included would be your airfare. We do have an optional group flight available. I'll give you that information in a second, or you can choose to purchase your own flight. Remember, that would include transportation all the way to Seville. Most U.S. to Spain flights are U.S. to Madrid or U.S. to Barcelona. Remember, you'd have to get yourself to Seville, which either would be a 4 to 5 hour bus ride, a 2-hour fast train. They have high-speed trains from Madrid to Seville, or a flight. All right, so definitely realize that you have to book yourself all the way to Sevilla. Your tuition would not be included, but if you're eligible for the Promise Grant, what we used to call the BOG fee waiver, that can be applied. Textbooks would not be applicable. Your faculty would tell you which textbooks to order prior to departure. Any personal expenses, including your passport fees prior to departure, would not be included, and meals except as described. So more meals for the homestay. We have a welcome meal and a farewell meal as well. This is kind of based on student request. Morocco is very close to southern Spain, so students wanted to travel to Morocco, didn't want to do it on their own, asked us to help them arrange a trip. So we do this optional 3-day, 3-night trip to Morocco, which is fantastic. It is completely different from anywhere that you've probably ever traveled before, and so this is a easy and safe way to go down. One of our staff members will go with the group and make sure that the group trip goes as smoothly as possible. You'll visit Tangier, Tetuan, and Chefchaouen, which are 3 great cities in the north of Africa. You will travel by bus to the port of Algeciras and then take a ferry across the Straits of Gibraltar, across the Mediterranean to Tangier, and I believe you stay 2 nights in Tetuan, but you'll visit all 3 cities, get a bus there in Morocco, and get guided tours of all those cities. All meals in Morocco are included, except for snacks and beverages for purchase. You'll get guided tours through the medinas and the souks. So the medinas are the old cities, and the souks are the markets. So you'll see wonderful, colorful, vibrant, smelly markets. So that's part of the experience too, the smells, good smells and bad smells. So, and you'll be able to ride a camel too. All right. As far as round trip airfare, and of course this is the part when, do we have the flight information now, John? No, that was Costa Rica. We might not have the flight yet. Yeah. The flight last year was 1,100 round trip, right? If I remember right. So that's approximately what we estimate it'll be. The last time we did this meeting was too early. We didn't have the flight price, but I'm sure they're working on it right now. Okay. It'll be round trip from LAX to Madrid, and then a regional from Madrid to Seville. The flight price will include airport pickup at the Seville airport, transfer to the hotel accommodations, and then return at the end of the program. If John's going to look it up and see if we can give you the price now. As far as eligibility requirements and the application, students have to be 18 years old or older by the program start date. You have to have completed 12 units and have a GPA of 2.5 or higher. If you don't meet, you don't have it?
No, I mean, it might be on the portal. You know,
Oh, okay.
The info sheet on the portal.
Oh, okay.
They don't tell me when
They don't tell you? They don't tell me either. Unfortunately, we got to figure it out in the middle of a meeting. But do you want to talk about application and stuff? And I'll try and look on the portal and see if I can find it.
Forgetting we're recording this. All right, well, it's pretty simple. You need to be 18 years old by the program start date with 12 units of college degree applicable credit with a 2.5 GPA. but if it's your first semester, you can submit a progress report. Also, if you experienced some hardship that lowered your GPA or you're improving your GPA this semester, we could also give you a progress report in that situation as well. So financial aid is available for the spring, and you can apply all the eligible financial aid to this program, which, how many slides do we have on that? No. Okay, so if you get the Pell Grant or the Cal Grant, Chafee Grant, Full-Time Student Success Grant, if you're eligible for any of those grants, you can apply those. Other than grants, the next best financial aid option is the subsidized loan, which is a loan that has no interest until you're done with your education. So when you continue on to a 4-year, or if you continue on to a master's degree, you won't have to pay interest. So I know students will take out that loan because what they can do is pay it when they return back, just $100, $200, or use their grants to pay that loan back the next semester. If you're not eligible for those, you will be eligible for unsubsidized student loans or Parent Plus loans. And those do have interest, so you do need to be aware of that. Make sure you're able to pay those off and you have a plan in place for that. Okay, scholarships. We have, if you're receiving the Pell Grant, there's the Gilman Scholarship. And actually, if you want information on fundraising scholarships, we have a great video for you. If you just go to our homepage. Oh, you got the flight?
Yeah, I got the flight.
Okay.
I got to edit up though. So.
Okay. If you go to our homepage, you'll see this video here, the 2020 scholarship and fundraising video. We did that, what was that, last week? We talk about the FEA scholarship, which is finished now, but if you don't do this program, check that out in the future. And we talk about the Gilman Scholarship. So the deadline for the Gilman is October 1st. And if you click here, we have some scholarship information for you. So watch the video, talk to me about the Gilman if you're applying for that. I want to check your essay. Okay. And we also have our AIFS scholarships. So we have 5 of these available for $1,000. You can't win all 5. Okay, it's one each. So apply for that. Apply for the Gilman. And then if you want, if you want to apply for more scholarships, this will give you a lot of links to tons of scholarships. And the way scholarships work is you get an essay going and then you just change it. So when you apply for a job, you'll do this with your cover letter and your resume. You just change it a little bit to suit the scholarship and you just apply. That's how you end up with scholarship money. If you just apply for one, what are the odds, right? But the main problem with scholarships is that people don't apply and then you won't get it. So apply for these. And then back to here. So the flight,
Yes.
we have the price. It's
Yes.
$1,059.
Yes.
So let's go back. And they asked a good question in the last meeting.
Yes.
If they don't choose this when they're applying, can they
Yes.
choose it later?
Yes.
And I think we said it's fine before the deadline.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So if you want to wait, you can't enter that enrollment portal and alter your choices, but you can email us. And you can choose it up to the deadline, maybe a little bit after the deadline. What happens is we've contacted the airline and we've put a hold on 50 seats. If we have a certain deadline where we have to release the seats that no one wanted, and once we do that, we can't get them back. So if you wait too long, there could be a time where we couldn't get those seats. So yeah, it's good to start looking into it now, looking at your own flight, seeing if you want to do that. We have students that don't want to travel on their own. They want to travel with the group, and that's absolutely fine. I, as a mother, when my kid did it, I didn't want him traveling alone. I wanted to go with the group. So that's you.
And if you are traveling on your own, look into the Norwegian Airlines flights.
It's a low cost.
It's
low service.
pretty inexpensive if you book early enough, and they have a
Yeah.
direct flight from LAX to Madrid, and then you can get a train from Madrid to Seville.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Can you do I guess not the round trip, but just one way, or does it have to be the round trip?
You have to, unfortunately, we have to book, our contract requires that it's the program start date, the program end date, and it's round trip, unfortunately. So if you wanna maybe travel after and everything, then you have to book your own flight. What you can do is ask John what flights we booked for the group. Like he should be able to get that now then from our office in Connecticut. And you can book yourself on the same departure flight.
Oh, okay.
And then choose a different date for the way back. But generally, we don't fly like Southwest where you can book separate little individual legs. Like Southwest, you have that flexibility. Like I could book myself on one, we have to do the same way there, we have to do the same way back.
Okay.
Because with our contracts, that's just the way it is. Did anybody have
I
any?
wanted to ask the student, were you considering a multi-city itinerary?
Yeah.
That was the reason. Yeah, that's very popular with my past students. So what they do is they'll fly into Seville, but their exit city will be somewhere else. For
Right.
instance, they'll come back home from Barcelona rather than from
right.
Seville.
Right.
Check Google Flights,
Okay.
and what Mr. Morris said, Norwegian Airlines, they tend to be very budget. They don't skimp on safety. It's dirt cheap
Right.
because you get no personal entertainment system in
Okay.
your seat.
Yeah.
and the baggage as well.
They nickel and dime you for everything.
Oh,
Even like a bottle of water would be like
Water,
$3.
right. Okay.
So because of that, they do keep the base fare extremely low.
Mhm.
When I looked into it several weeks ago, minus bag fees, it was $210 one way, nonstop LAX to Madrid.
Okay.
You know, so definitely more affordable.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on to any other questions? Yes.
Yes, I have a question. As far as the fees, the total fees, the program is $78.45, right?
Mhm.
And in addition, there is a $1,100 for the flight, is that correct?
That's correct.
1,059, yeah.
If you use the group flight,
If you use the group
you
flight.
don't have to. Any other question? Yes.
So what do you think we should be saving for ourselves?
Oh, money? Is how
You
much
mean spending money?
and stuff, yeah. For meals and things like that.
Do we have a slide for that?
I don't think we have a slide
Okay.
for that, but we estimate about $1,000 a month for meals, fun, and additional travel. Alright.
And I just wanted to remind you guys, remember I mentioned you're not gonna be driving there, how much do you spend on gas a week?
Like $60.
You're gonna eat, for next semester, you're gonna eat whether you go or not. It's cheaper, I think, to eat there than it is to eat here, but it's not like you wouldn't be eating if you didn't go, right?
Yeah.
And then just one more thing, this is not free, obviously, but, I was talking to a friend of mine who wanted to come visit me while we're out there, and she had the opportunity to go with her church, and it was gonna be $2,000 for a 2-week trip. So, you guys are going for 3 months, it works out to, it's a lot of money at one moment, but over the course of 3 months. And y'all are gonna go to the 4-year university after community college? You have money to pay for that? No? But you're gonna go anyway, right?
Yeah.
See you guys in Spain. You have a question?
Yes.
On housing, online it said if we wanted our own separate room it would be 400, but then it's not guaranteed. So
It's not guaranteed.
I
Oh.
don't know what it
If
said.
it were, well, it's very, yeah, if we couldn't, you would get a
Oh.
refund of the money, obviously.
I see.
Obviously, yeah. If we couldn't, it depends on availability, because this is Seville's high season, the spring. This is when they have Semana Santa, which I don't think we even mentioned, but Semana Santa is
Right.
Easter week. And Seville is world famous for their processions during Easter week. And so with Airbnb and things like that, we found housing to be hardest to get in Seville during this time. So that's why we say we can't guarantee it. But if you were to pay for one and we couldn't provide it, we would definitely refund you. That's not something that we would say, you know, because we wouldn't be paying for it, so we would refund you. So I would encourage you, if you wanna pay the supplement, pay it, and we will do our absolute best. But because of this Holy Week and Airbnb, it's made housing really difficult in Seville during this time of the year. The second thing is that you're there for the feria, which is it's like the county fair. But again, it's world famous in Seville because it is a huge 2-week party, and that generally happens, it's technically La Feria de Abril, but it depends, it always happens after, it doesn't always happen in April, it might happen in the beginning of May, depends on when Easter falls. And those two events make housing, that's why we have that stipulation in there, it's very hard, but we definitely try.
Thank you.
Sure, but again, the earlier that you do your application and you pay that, the easier it is for us to find that room for you. If you wait until the deadline or after the deadline to say, oh, I want a single, it's gonna be really hard, right? We've already estimated and found housing based on the estimation of what happened last year, but, you know, that's hard, so, yes.
If you're making your own arrangements,
For the flight,
for the flight,
Yes.
right? I would still meet with you
at the
first day.
local hotel.
Is that in Sevilla? I need to get
In
myself to
Sevilla, you need to get yourself to
Okay.
Sevilla, exactly, on the day of arrival.
Right.
Generally, right, it's overnight flights from Spain, from the US to Europe, right? So it'd be, there's departure day and then there's arrival day, which would be the next day. You have to be in Seville at the local hotel sometime in the day or evening of arrival day. We don't generally have anything planned but arrivals for arrival day because everybody's coming in at all different times, yes. Question, Andy, or comment?
One question.
Sure.
About the online classes, if you're wanting to take two, you said that you needed approval from the dean, right?
Yes.
How would that go? Would you need to write a letter? Would you need to have a personal meeting?
Send me an email with the reason,
Okay.
and I will ask her about it. It's
And
usually
how soon would
approved
that need to be?
just as soon as you're ready, just as soon as possible, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if you have a good reason, it will be approved. I don't see why it wouldn't. Just be careful about those things we were discussing earlier.
And so, like, if we're doing like the flights by ourselves, would you give us like the information as to where
Exactly.
the place
As
is?
soon as you apply, enroll with AIFS, you book your itinerary. We want you to upload your itinerary. We'll have a little to-do list on our student portal. We'll ask you to upload photos. We ask you to upload a copy of your passport. We ask you to upload your itinerary if you booked your own flight. Then our staff in Spain will contact you and say, thank you for sending us your itinerary. These are the arrival instructions. So what we like to do is give general instructions on people that are arriving to Madrid, how to get to Seville. People arriving to Malaga, which is a closer airport, how to get to Seville. People arriving to the Seville airport, how to get to the hotel. We'll give you the hotel information. We give you a nice long bulletin on all the eventualities, and if you still have questions, our local staff will be easy to communicate with.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll also monitor your travel
Oh, okay.
plans, and if we haven't heard from you when we should, then we'll try and reach out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I have him and then I'll get you, and question back there, okay. I have this gentleman right here and then I'll get to you.
Me first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When do you need the deposit and the rest of the money by?
That,
So if you look in the brochure, there's a
info sheet.
info sheet. We also have it online here, timeline and info sheet. So the second page in the info sheet, or the third page here, you can see the deadline is November 27th. That's the $450 deposit that comes out of the balance. If you like, you can make deposit. You can work towards paying
Yeah.
off
So what, we don't have a payment,
Mhm.
what was that?
installment.
Installment plan. We don't have an installment plan because what we will do is defer some payment for students that will be using financial aid. So everyone's financial aid package is different, right? It depends on, what you're eligible for. So we will defer students who are getting a Pell Grant, a Cal Grant, or student loans until Citrus College defers or disperses that money to you,
Yeah.
we will wait for that amount of payment.
And that's what's mentioned right here.
Yes.
So, in order to, they changed the program reservation deposit. So
Yes.
you'll have to pay, instead of the entire balance, if you're using financial aid, you don't pay the whole $7,395. You pay $850 only, and then you pay the rest when you get your financial aid. Okay? However, you need to make
Well,
sure
you
you're
pay the rest of that corresponds to your financial aid,
Yeah.
right?
this $850 comes out of the amount. It's not an additional.
Yes.
But make sure your financial aid is covering the fees, because if it's not covering the fees, you'll have to pay the difference.
Right. That has to come out of pocket.
So financial aid confuses people. So be sure you're on top of that. And basically what you need to do is, if you're not a citrus student, you need to add citrus to your FAFSA. And you need to follow the instructions that are listed in your brochure or here online. So you can read these, and it outlines what you need to do. Basically, you add citrus to FAFSA and you turn these forms in to our financial aid office. There's the email address. You can scan them or take a picture with your phone. Your phone can make a PDF file if you like. And then are we still doing that? Yeah, and then there's a form on your AIFS portal as well to be completed. So just to summarize those steps, add Citrus College to FAFSA, turn in that financial aid form, and then we're trying to add it to the timeline, but there's a financial aid form on the AIFS portal
Yes.
that you need
so
to complete.
if we're going to defer payment, you need to be proactive in your financial aid, right? So you have to make sure that you fill out your financial aid forms on time, submit them on time, and then find out how much financial aid you're going to receive. And communicate with us, all right? Because unless you're proactive with this, if you wait until the week of the deadline, everybody waits till deadlines to get things done. And then everybody's freaking out. And there's one person in our billing office in Stamford, Connecticut, 3 hours time difference from us, who's trying to manage everybody at the same time. And it gets crazy, all right? It gets absolutely crazy. And then people, it's been too late to fundraise. It's too late to, so start immediately.
Yeah, so
right?
if
Start
you're adding
Take the
citrus,
bull by the horns, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to Spain, take that toro por los cuernos and get on it. Yeah.
if you're adding,
There's a question back there. I know she's back there. Is
Oh,
yours
okay.
about financial aid or anything like that related?
No.
Okay.
But if you're taking your own flight, is the transportation to the hotel out of your own?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Right. Because in our flight price, it includes airport pickup and transfer to the hotel, and then at the end of the program, you have a way back to the airport. Right? Those prices are all in that program, in that optional group flight fee.
But if you want to do that though, go on your own. The airport in Seville is only like some 6-7 miles away from the center of town. It's not like LAX where
Yeah.
it's 50 miles away.
And if you're going at the group flight, included in that is from Madrid to Sevilla.
Yes.
But if you're going by yourself, you need to get yourself from
To
Madrid
Sevilla.
Sevilla.
Correct. Right. Like I said, there's no U.S. to Sevilla direct flights. You'll probably either go to Madrid or Barcelona. That's probably where you'll find. And students think that Barcelona is really close to Sevilla. It's farther than Madrid. Right. It's about an hour and a half flight. So.
Also look into Lisbon, making a connection in Lisbon and then to Seville.
But if you're booking your own flight, you're an independent traveler, and we expect you to make it to the hotel yourself. Now, we'll give you thorough instructions, like I said, on how to do that based on, the big airports in Spain, but we won't pick you up.
Is there by any chance like an expiration date on our student visas?
So you won't have a student visa.
Okay.
Because you're not enrolling at a Spanish university or a Spanish college, you're not eligible for a student visa.
Okay.
You'll be traveling there on a tourist visa, which is a 90-day visa. So our program is 84 days,
Okay,
approximately,
sounds
86
correct.
days. So you can stay up to 90 days in Spain and the Schengen countries, which are part of that No Border Europe Treaty, right? So you can leave the Schengen zone and travel to non-Schengen countries like England or
Croatia?
Yes,
Probably.
Croatia, non-Schengen.
Yeah.
Will be someday, not at the moment.
Question?
Are there students who have gotten longer visas?
You're not eligible for one because you're not enrolling in
No,
a.
are students who have managed to get a visa for a longer amount of time?
No,
Have they tried?
because you're
I know
not.
you're not students, so you can't get a student visa.
Oh,
Like an extended tourist visa?
I don't know.
I looked into that and
Yeah.
I couldn't see that it was offered.
I don't know about an extended tourist visa. Sorry, but you can travel to other countries
And the Spanish consulate.
outside of the
So would it have to be outside of Europe?
It'd be
No,
outside of the Schengen, SCHENG.
You need to Google the Schengen zone.
Super confusing.
Which is a group of some 26 European countries. That's where the 90-day rule applies.
Uh-huh.
But here's some like big countries that are non-Schengen.
Mhm.
UK. You can go to Great Britain and stay
And
there
it-
for up to 6 months. I mean, if you want
And
to.
it stops the clock on the Schengen visa. So if you're in Spain,
If you go for the weekend,
Yeah.
to London, you come back to Seville and your 90 days starts over.
Oh, I don't
So
know.
No.
You're not
It
even,
stops
you might have
continuing.
2 extra
Oh, okay,
days.
that's what you were saying. I was gonna say.
no, it stops the clock. So if you have like
Oh, I see.
2 weeks left on your Spain visa,
Mhm.
and then you fly to England for 3 days, when you return
Yes,
from
yes,
England,
yes.
You still
you
have
still
2
have
weeks.
2 weeks left.
Oh, I see,
Okay.
okay.
So when you go to Morocco, it'll stop the clock if you go to Morocco.
Okay.
I see.
If you go to Croatia, you go to Dubrovnik. If you don't know Dubrovnik, check out Dubrovnik. It's the walled city in Game of Thrones.
This is a very low probability event, but if any of you were thinking of holiday travel this Christmas season to say Paris, to Madrid, I don't know why you're going twice, but if you're planning a holiday trip, that's gonna count towards your 90 days, unfortunately. So don't go to Europe, don't go to a Schengen country this Christmas, because the rule is 90 days within a 180-day window.
Okay.
So I went to Spain 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, you should be fine.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, 180 days.
180 days.
Yeah,
You're
more or
under-
less.
we're not gonna-
I doubt they won't fly.
And also about the 90 days, I've had friends that overstayed their 90 days by about a week or two.
Mhm.
And when they were leaving, the customs agent kind of chastised them, hey, why'd you overstay?
Mhm.
But, there were no there's not gonna be any criminal charges or anything
Okay.
like that. For Americans, they're generally very generous about letting us overstay by a week or two.
Okay.
As long as it doesn't look like we're just gonna settle in Europe and not go home.
Okay.
And a disclaimer is that because Paula will get in trouble if she says that, so AIFS does not support that opinion.
Oh, yes, I'm not
I got in a
encouraging
lot
it.
of trouble when I
But,
said what
yeah.
he just said.
But
I lived
you're
there
not
for
gonna go to prison.
25 years and I had students do it all the
The
time.
worst that'll happen, say if you overstay by 30 days, which I don't encourage you to do.
Okay.
They will put you on a banned list, a blacklist for 5 years. You can't go to their country for the next 5 years.
Okay, then I definitely won't.
But I think it's worth going, I mean, if it's something you're thinking of doing, it wouldn't hurt to go to a consulate and ask.
Mhm.
Just make sure that you explain that you're not gonna be a student in Spain. because
Okay.
That's a different, right, you're a student here.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, semantics. Yes,
Thank you, guys.
it's confusing.
It's confusing, I know
Yeah.
it is.
Yes.
Okay, so if we're traveling in the group, is there a certain amount of baggage that we're, like, is there
Yeah.
a maximum?
We'll go over all this at the
Yeah.
orientation, but
Right, at the orientation, we get you ready. Generally, the airlines, you have one 50-pound piece of luggage and one carry-on, right? That's all we suggest you bringing because your closet space is very limited. And because you have, you'll have, even the students in the student apartments will have washing machines, so you can wash your clothes.
Mhm.
You don't need to bring 3 months of clothes. Generally, we recommend bringing about a week and a half worth of clothes. And then you don't have to be a clothes horse. This isn't a fashion program in Milan. Plus, you're going to buy a lot when you're there. Zara is
Yeah.
dirt cheap in Spain. It's like the #1 fashion clothing. H&M is dirt cheap in Spain. You
pretty cheap,
probably are gonna need certain things that you didn't expect, so you're gonna maybe wanna buy some stuff when you're there. You're gonna need a winter coat.
Okay.
We don't
You-
have winter coats here, but you'll need a winter coat.
You might want a
Beach
flamenco
shirt.
dress.
You
You might want a
also,
flamenco dress.
you also want to be mobile.
You wanna be mobile.
Bring the more you gotta slip.
Yes, exactly.
Forgot? It's about baggage, flights.
Okay, we'll get back to you. Go ahead. Sue.
As far as communication, currency.
Yes. So with communication, we recommend the cheapest way to communicate is Wi-Fi based. So if they make Wi-Fi calls back home regularly, like with FaceTime or WhatsApp, which is very popular in Spain and Europe, then whenever they're on Wi-Fi and you're on Wi-Fi, then it's free. If certain mobile carriers have international plans, some can be very affordable, like T-Mobile. You can text message back for free from Spain, and you get unlimited data, which is really nice. But you want all your phone calls to be Wi-Fi based.
I know Verizon does like $10 a day, and it's like only, I think, like 10 gigabytes of data. It's not that much.
That's expensive.
That's super expensive. I would
did
not.
that when I was in Europe. and I was
That's
that idea.
expensive.
I would. You can get something
Some
over there.
international
You
plans,
can.
But if you're doing, remember you're having Wi-Fi in your accommodations.
Yeah.
You have Wi-Fi at the school. You have a lot of Wi-Fi at the different cafes and tapas bars and things like that.
And you can get you can get a SIM card there and put it in your phone,
You can get a SIM
maybe.
card there, get a Spanish number, and get a Spanish plan.
You can
There's a lot of
switch
options.
to T-Mobile. T-Mobile has free international service,
Yeah.
so if you wanna
Not phone calls though. You have to be careful about phone calls. It's all got to be Wi-Fi.
texting data.
We'll go over that more when we do that pre-departure as well. Did you have another question? I can't remember. Currency. You're using the euro, which is the European currency, right? It's good in a lot of different countries in Europe. So what you'll do is either take your debit card, take your credit card for big purchases, but you'll take out money at ATMs locally, right? It is a somewhat cash society. It's a more cash society than we have here because vendor fees. Remember, there's a lot of small business still in Spain, not like here. There's a lot of still mom and pop shops, and credit card fees can be very expensive for them. So you do have limits on, using your debit card or your credit card. Sometimes you have to make minimum purchases in small shops. Taxis too. There are some taxis that you can use your debits or your credit cards with. But we'll give them all the pointers before they go. Yeah.
How much cash are you taking with this?
Well, again, you're going to need about $1,000 a month, more or less, especially if you're going to make some Euro travel, right? You don't have to bring it all with you in cash. As a matter of fact, you can't bring US dollars and go to a bank and exchange them anymore. Everything is digital. So you're going to put it all in your bank account, and then you'll take your debit card, your credit card, and you'll take out money as on a needed basis, kind of, while you're there, or you'll be able to use your debit card to make purchases as well.
I can answer your question better. Are you asking how much cash to have on hand getting off the flight?
Yeah.
Okay, my answer, 100 euros. Here's why. That's just enough cash to buy you food first couple of nights you're there, so you're not stressed about finding an ATM machine. After about 2-3 days, you'll definitely come across an ATM machine. So 100 euros. Where do you get 100 euros? You can either go to your local bank, but only the major branches will swap dollars for euros, or do this, which is what I did. You know where the Ontario Mills Mega Mall is? Okay, go to Ontario Mills. They have so many foreign tourists that they have exchange goods there, reasonably good rates. Okay, so I would get about 100 euros worth, which is about 112 bucks.
That's not bad.
Plus fees.
The only reason to carry more cash is that every time you take out cash, they're gonna charge you an international fee.
Okay. All right. Did you have the question in the back that you forgot and remembered?
Oh yeah, it was the currency.
Okay.
Again, before we go, we'll have a big meeting. We'll
Yeah,
give you all
we'll
the pointers and recommend what to do.
talk
and
about
what to do.
Packing and
Yeah.
everything.
All of that, what to bring and not to bring.
When is the next?
That meeting will be for enrolled students a month prior to departure, and you already have the date.
It's there
for
on the
that, right?
timeline, so you can see it here. January 25th in this room. And it says 10 to noon, but it's probably going to go over because we're doing more now. So probably be
We'll bring
10
snacks.
Spanish snacks.
I'll make tortilla.
Ooh, not the kind of tortilla you're
Tortilla
familiar.
española.
It's potatoes.
I just thought of a last minute possible money saving tip. How many of you own your own cars? Okay, I saved about $300 through my insurance company this way. Before I left on my previous trip, I called them and said that my vehicle is going to be garaged for the time that I'll be away in the other country.
Good
Now,
tip.
if your other family members are going to drive your car, you can't do this. But if you know that your car is not going to get used, tell them, tell your insurance company that it's going to be garaged, so you know they can take off. You'll still have car insurance, but they'll take off whatever I forget what it's called, but liability, it's called that. I save $300 that way. So if you know it's going to be garaged.
Okay. So should we move on to the fundraising section? We're almost done. We just have a few more slides. But I do want to talk about fundraising because we were talking about scholarships. Scholarships, you don't know if you're going to get them. They won't be announced until right before you leave.
Right.
So you can't depend on scholarships. You need to depend on saving, cutting expenses, financial aid, and fundraising. So you can do things like lifestyle changes. I know people waste a lot of money on things like junk food. Yeah, fast food.
Amazon Prime.
So
Nintendo.
yeah, make a budget, stick to the budget.
Starbucks.
So you can't work in Spain. So work here, cut your expenses, save your money, be a hermit. Don't go out. Sorry. And then when you're there, you're not working. You're gonna have a great time. So don't worry about suffering a little bit back here. And then you can probably talk
We've
about
had
the back to
students
basics.
put their time and effort into raising money, and we've had some great chats with students. We did a Funding Your Study Abroad meeting last Friday. There's a videotape of the meeting. We had a lot of student input, ideas that students were already implementing.
Right here. Yeah.
And we'll do another one on the 27th of this month. So if you've got time, I think it's at 10 or 12
Yeah.
a.m., 12 p.m. on the 27th.
I think that is.
Students have raised money by doing garage sales. They've, cleaned out closets, asked family and neighbors to clean out their closets, and done big weekend garage sales. We've had students do bake sales where they put together a menu of baked goods and they went around to the different offices on campus, to faculty, they went around to, neighborhoods, and they've taken orders for baked goods, went home baked and then delivered and got payment the next day. We've had students do car washes and raised funds that way. We've had students do...
We've had them do things like Venmo, Postmates, because things that have tips, you can save, you can make more money with those. What kind of economy is that?
Feudalism.
Feudalism, yes, thank you.
We've had students do, who craft or do artwork, sell their stuff, which is a great idea. Ask for support from your community, or are you part of a big community, a large church group, a large synagogue, something like that.
Right.
Ask for support. Crowdfunding is one way. Asking for support from local organizations, especially if you have a family member that's a member of a local organization, that's a great way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, all right. The application process is pretty simple. Something's up with the internet right now, but basically you just...
There you go.
Is it working now?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just go to this page here and you fill out the interest form. I'll respond, or my student worker will respond with the AIFS link. We just want to check that you have the 2.5 12 unit thing. And there's some other questions there about medical stuff. So do your best on that, and you'll get a link for AIFS. That's where you'll make your payments. And they'll have their own timeline, and they want things like your photo and your passport information. Get a passport if you don't have a passport, by the way. Have one. Should have one anyway. And so that's where you make your payments, and that's basically it. It's pretty simple. Any questions about applying? Yes?
I have a passport question. So, I don't know the length of time it takes to get a passport, but she doesn't have one, and
Okay.
she's 17, doesn't turn 18 until December.
I think it doesn't matter if you're...
But doesn't it make a difference difference like a
Yeah.
underage
Does it?
passport and
Well,
Oh.
it's validity, so if you get one under 8, no, it's 16.
Yeah,
She
usually
should be fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
You
it's
know,
16.
We just renewed our passports, so we get them November 4th. So that's about the timeline for $80 or so you can expedite it.
I'm just wondering her age.
Right.
No, it's
So she- no, but
16.
she'll get her-
Child or adult.
She'll get her passport now, and what they care about is her birth date. And then it'll be good for 10 years.
Yeah, as long as it's some countries it's 18, but here it's 16. Then she gets a 10-year passport. So it's the same. Yeah, I do it soon and not pay the extra. That way you get it. Yeah.
Any other questions? I saw one back there. No? Okay. All right. Well, oh yeah. So if you do require accommodations through DSPS, or if you are worried about something, I know we've had students with they need extra test time or whatever, or they have vision issues or walking, whatever, let us know so that we can help you. Yeah, dietary requirements, medications, all that stuff. Let us know. And maybe if you're worried about medical stuff, talk to your doctor about it as well, just to figure it out beforehand. Don't put these things off to right before you're gonna depart. Yeah, and so just be sure to think about it and think about the challenges and contact us if you have any questions at all. Okay, and that's about it. So on the timeline, you have my email. It's there too as well. You have, did I put the instructor's email on there? But you do have the AIFS information. So if we go back to the timeline, I think it's just the internet. It's very slow. Well, anyway, if you look at the timeline, you'll have Patty Cardenas. Her information's on there. The financial aid advisor is on there. Karen Winslow, who's in charge of flights, her information's on there. So if you're contacting us about questions in Spain, it's probably best to contact AIFS. And if it's questions about classes and things like that, contact me. I know about the college and stuff like that. Okay, so thank you so much, faculty and students, for coming, and thank you, Paula. Do you guys have any questions at all? Yes.
About one of the Spanish classes, that one is 127, I believe it was. You have to take it.
Yes, you do need to take the Spanish civilization course.
It's linked to all of your activities.
Okay.